Glad to see you, Tony. Like, really glad you're here. Okay, look, I want to just catch you guys up on where the market is and where the business is as a whole, where our client-based business is, where our business is, where our competitors' businesses are, and what that means to us, and what that means to how we need to be doing things. Okay, fair enough? Y'all ever heard of PIA? For those of you that are younger and, you know, do nothing but use acronyms and all that. Aaron, what does PIA mean? If you're to Texas, that's pain in the ass, right? Okay, so in the car business, that's it. In the car business, that's people, inventory, and advertising. Okay, that's what those three items are referred to on the income statement of a car dealership. PIA, those are the three largest expenses. And if the investment banks had their way, they'd buy car dealerships and they would replace general managers with people that could be general managers at Best Buy, and they would take out the entrepreneurial spirit, and they would institutionalize the industry. And they would reduce inventory, they wouldn't have inventory on the lots, you could go somewhere else and service your vehicle, kind of like a Tesla model, right? And they keep the inventory low, they keep the personnel expense really low, and they keep their advertising expense really low. Every opportunity to instill that into the industry is fair. Everyone. I mean, you talk to somebody that owns a Tesla, and they'll tell you that their post-purchase experience is horrible. It's terrible, right? It's because there's not that personal connection to the entrepreneurial spirit of making sure your experience is fantastic. All right, so you know our business, we lost really an unprecedented number of clients within about 90 days, 3-month period of time. It's like, whoa, what the hell is happening? On the flip side, we've also taken more inbound opportunities in a short amount of time than I can remember from real businesses, not Murfreesboro, Tennessee, right? Real deals, real opportunity. So I'm in a meeting yesterday with Dan and Michelle, two highly tenured core managers in a world-class automotive advertising business. Truly world-class, right? And the three of us are there together. And there's a large holding company that owns this group of dealerships, and they've got an internal chief marketing officer, and they have a really very capable advertising agency that represents them. Very capable. If you look up McClarty Daniel, you'll see some real sexy production. It's done well, it's done well. And this lady who tells me that she could run a dealership at any time, says, you know, what you brought to us today is in line with what I expected. And everything that you're doing from a digital perspective, we're already doing it. And we appreciate, you know, you doing all the work. I'm 54 now, I'm not 34, so I've been on time for about 3 minutes. And then my response back was, there's a reason why we're here. You guys are losing market share every day. And there's a ton of advertising agencies in the business that understand the Google products the way that we do, you know, implement PMax, understand AI, understand all of the digital whiz bang, and production companies that can film sexy and make you look great in your market. But there's nobody in the country that has been focused on the car business and market share the way that my business has been for the amount of time that we have been. And you're talking to three people now that have seen planes fly into World Trade Center, have seen interest rates come up and down, treated COVID like a speed bump. We grew as a business, navigated the inventory shortage, and now recognize what the marketplaces that we're in today is. The dude back at the back of the bus, Ford dealer, the guy that's got all the horsepower. What do he do? What do you do?
He said, hallelujah, I think I just went to church.
Yeah. So these general managers, these managing partners, what is it? It's a group of 7 stores, and 7 really good stores. It's a really good company, right? They're like, good God Almighty, that's what I needed to hear. Somebody's going to tell me how to market through this marketplace. We as a business got caught flat-footed, and I had this, and I've known it, but I haven't known what it was. Have y'all heard of COVID fog? It's kind of, I don't know if I created it, I don't know if I started using it or if I heard it from somebody else, but there's that kind of mentality that because of how COVID affected industry and capitalism, it kind of lulled people to sleep and slowed down their motor a little bit, and everybody was just kind of didn't have quite as much go fast to it, and then there's some lingo in the car business that the dealerships haven't shaken off the COVID fog. And what they mean by that is that business was really, really easy during COVID because they cut so much personnel staff, they cut their advertising expense at PIA. They didn't have as much inventory that they were paying interest on, and customers were paying over MSRP to get their vehicles, right? And so there's this shakeup that's been happening for about 6 months, 7 months, where when interest rates started going up, car business just started to get a little tougher. But the people that weren't having to work so hard weren't necessarily really all that inspired to go back and work at the same speed, motor, adrenaline, and focus that they were doing before COVID. Right? And that's being referred to as COVID fog. That's how I talk about it, is COVID fog. You gotta shake off the dust of COVID fog. I was kind of thinking maybe that's where we were, right? It's not. That's not where we are. We're not in COVID fog. We're running pretty quick, right? We're gonna run faster. We're gonna run faster after you leave this meeting. But we're running pretty quick. I got a call a week ago from a very large Toyota that's in Gulf States Toyota. The guy that owns it was an employee of Gulf States Toyota, which is the distributorship. There's 2 distributorships in America for Toyota. This is a very politically important Toyota. Their advertising agency is one of the 5 in the United States that I have had respect for, including us, right? One of the ones that I have always felt like that's right. And I walk in the door and I'm listening to these guys and they're telling me the same story basically we heard yesterday. We're doing the same shit. We're doing the same thing. We're doing the same thing. But it's not getting us to here. Here's another company that's flat-footed. That company doesn't have the 30 years that we got. Here's what's happening. So, COVID hit. Prior to COVID, we're running really hard, big-ass core product retail segment, right? Ultimate. We've got 15 of these. We're selling them Saturday night. We're putting fear in the consumer that if they don't act, it's going to go away. And they're going to do a disservice to their own economics, right? COVID hit, we couldn't communicate that way to the marketplace. The psychology and the emotion of the consumer was too fragile, right? We had to rethink all. That's when Tim put a beret on his head and a long cigarette in a director chair and decided we're going to be in the film business, right? When we went out and started shooting all the real high video quality stuff with classic Chevrolet. We accelerated what we were doing in California. There were 4 or 5 others. Gallus was another one. We really put that whiz bang. We wanted to we localized the deals and we imaged these things up. And we really concentrated on what was the brand representation in the marketplace. What do these people look like? It was very important. It was very important. And it worked. What we have not made the adjustment to, which we are starting to make the adjustment, but we're really going to make the adjustment. Okay, we got to go through a paradigm shift as we leave this meeting. When we say we're back in the car business, we're back in how do we retail? How do we drive traffic? How do we tell the consumer that this opportunity exists and it's going away really quick? We're not going to leave the core values of doing it really super polished and higher level quality than anybody else in the United States and film quality execution. But the writing, and how you say these are the last couple of days of this. And if you don't take advantage of this today, you're gonna miss this opportunity. All intertwined with retargeting, all ninja whiz bang is coming out of Michelle's department. It's all top tier brand food, right? So these guys in Little Rock, or in Fayetteville, Bentonville, yesterday, one of the Ford stores has 910 red 2023 F-150s in his inventory. Dan tells me this on the airplane coming back. What does a company like ours do about that? Anybody? It's in Bentonville. It's in Fayetteville, Arkansas. They're red. Those are Arkansas edition F-150s with now they're going to have pinstripes and floor mats, and we're going to put the state of Arkansas flag on the back of them because you can't have the University of Arkansas. I called them yesterday and they're like, good God Almighty, that's what we're missing. That's what we want. Well, that's who we are. That's the bones of who we are. We happen to have this OEM, super polished, core value of the quality of our product that comes out that is so far superior to everyone else in the market, but we know how to do is retail. We know how to put on the big ass sale, right? Bridging at Easy Honda, Friday they lose all their power. Thursday, Friday, Saturday they're out of power at Easy Honda in Houston. I talked to the dealer operator on Sunday, and his inclination is we probably need to pause all our advertising. I'm like, you're nuts, dude. This is an opportunity. You go to the marketplace and say, you got this incentive. This is how I know we're flat-footed. That was Sunday. Today's Wednesday. It's not on our website yet. When we leave here, we're going to have a different posture, okay? If it was 2018, pre-COVID, if the boss had a conference call with the dealer operator on Sunday, all that would have been executed on Monday and live on the air Monday night. What happened? Okay. Business got easy with us. And remember, I own the business, so the speed of the ship is the speed of the captain. Okay, so no one, this is no like, we're doing it wrong. I'm putting it in front of it. Because here's how I see it. It happened to the entire industry. And what happened in the last 6 to 8 weeks, not months, the car business has changed. Significantly changed. And the reason why my phone is ringing is because companies like ours aren't back in front of their clients saying, this is what you gotta do next. Not, this is how many impressions you have to have. Not, this is how much money you have to spend. Not, this is how many appointments you have to have. This is how you market through this client. So what's happened, so that you have a really clear picture on what's happening in the marketplace. And for those of you that run your life on a pretty tight budget, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. 90% of the United States does not watch CNBC. 98%. Nobody's talking about interest rates. You're hearing about interest rates as it relates to now is a terrible time to buy a house. And for the Gen Xers in here, I'm sorry, it's a terrible time. You're hearing that. You're hearing that noise. It's a terrible time to be buying your first house, right? Because the cost of a new house is so high and the interest rates are so high. That kind of stuff is in front of you, but it's not in front of you as it relates to buying something else. So what's happening is you've got a $450 car payment and you're cycling back into the marketplace and you're going to look for a new car because advertising is saying now is a great time to do it. And you get on a payment calculator and you go, oh my God, that $450 payment I'm in right now, it's $900 for another car. Because interest rates are now 9.5%, 10%, unless there's an incentive. So we see this in analytics that we watch really close. So one of the analytics we watch real close is set appointments in the business development center. So the leads come into a dealership, we see where the leads are coming from. We can tell if it's coming from Google search, we can tell if it's coming from social, we can tell if it's coming from phone calls, we can tell where it's coming into the pipe. And we can see how many appointments get set on that. 50% of appointments should show. 50% of the shown appointments should sell. So if you have 100 appointments, how many cars should you sell? Roughly, right? Well, that shown appointment to the set appointment is starting to go like this. And it's because of two things. The consumer's going to a payment calculator after they set an appointment to come look at a Trailblazer. They're getting sticker shock, they're getting payment shock, or the car dealership is quoting the payments on the phone before they set the appointment. So it's a gap that's happening. And this has started happening in about 6 weeks ago, right? We've seen a real market. So when we're in this meeting yesterday, they called us, right? Just like the Toyotas were called us, just like I'm going to talk to you about another deal in Denver that we're going to on Tuesday. They called us, and they're calling, these people are calling because they don't have a plan to address the market. And they're looking at it like it's COVID fog, and I was able to look at it and go, this is not COVID fog. This is a marketplace adjustment. So and we're here, we're stuck in it. It's not going anywhere. Interest rates are not going to drop by more than a point in the next year and a half. This is where we are. The ad agencies that are in our industry are not equipped in the way that we are equipped. They don't have the tenure of the people that are running the company. They don't have this. They don't have the level of polish, and they just don't. I can see it in the plans that are being generated, and these are real companies. These aren't little deals, right? I mean, one of them we're going to go see on Tuesday is the former chief executive officer of AutoNation, second largest shareholder in Carvana. I mean, these are real businesses, right? And I'm hearing about how their plans are. They don't have any plans compared to the plans that, Dan, Seth, and Mark are kicking out and putting in front of clients. The only thing that's missing is the lean into how do we retail right now and the speed at which we're getting things out. That's it. Those are the only two things that are missing that are keeping us from taking the gap from the companies that are in our close circle of competition and going like this. We're truly sitting on what I think could be a powder keg. Truly. And you guys that are in the room are the ones that are going to be showing the new people that are going to be coming in that are going to help us run this business the way that we're going to do, the way that we're going to have to do it to keep it up. But I will tell you, in order to improve where you are, sorry for the preface, you have to be honest about what you see back. Okay? I have to be honest at what I'm looking into. And when I'm telling you we're not going fast enough, I'm not telling you that you're not working hard enough. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm not telling you that you're not working hard enough. I'm telling you that as a team, we're not being fluid enough. There's even that adage, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I'm not telling you to be here till midnight and go back to psychotic hours. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the fluidity of RFM. I know what RFM means. What does it mean? Somebody else say it. So
Right fucking now.
Right fucking now. That's exactly right. And in order to do that, you've got to have a mindset of urgency, being nimble, and being quick, and being polished. Everyone in the room has all of those characteristics. I'm not saying anything about being reckless. Okay? I'm not saying anything about being reckless. And Tony, I'm so glad you're here. Sorry we haven't handshake yet, but we will. I know that you're here. Okay? I very much know that you're here. And I'm counting on you to think on your feet and be logical. Okay? Because what I'm saying to my creative department and the workflow and the production business is everything is RFM. And you guys are seasoned professionals enough to know that, okay, I know how we're treating what's in red in the work zone. Somebody think through this. Tim's asking for this. If Tim's asking for it, it's because Tim needs it RFM. Or Dan's saying, hey, I got something that's hot right now. It's because it's hot right now. Use logic in how to get these things done, okay? And we're all smart, we're all really well equipped, and we're all adults, and we have the ability to make good judgment decisions. You're our traffic cop, and you're gonna help us do it. Apply logic to the rigidity that exists for the control. Is that fair? Y'all understand where I'm coming from? And I'm telling you, this Easy Honda, what I just articulated to you on Easy Honda, screamed at me that I was right. And it's okay. I'm not throwing any arrows. And again, remember, my name's on it. This is my business. I'm the one that started in the back of my car. And at the end of the day, the productivity of the business is the kind of job I'm doing. So I'm looking at me, not looking at you. But if I don't articulate it to you, you follow me? So I'm not being critical. I assure you, what I'm telling you today about where the marketplace is, consumer marketplace, where the dealer sentiment is, they're starving for a plan, they're starving for somebody to walk in and say, this is what you need to do. You need to make those Arkansas Edition F-150s, get and park all 15 of them in a row, put Arkansas flags in the back of them, get your salespeople to do a walk around and put it on social media. You'll sell them in a week and don't sell them for less than MSRP. Make money, don't lose money on them. They're starving for that. They're starving for that. And every one of our account directors is fully equipped to do it. Those are things that have to happen quick. Okay? Those are things that have to happen quick. And you've got to use your trust your instinct to make logical decisions that are a function of being nimble, quick, and polished in the best interest of the business. When you see, there are chapters in the consumer retail business in the 30 years that I've owned this business that are very well defined to me. They're very, very well defined. When I started the business, mortgage interest rates were 11, 12%. There was another chapter where, before any of you were here, where 80% of our business was Nissan dealers. And they were little ones, they were all through the South Central region. Nissan said they were filing for bankruptcy. Sold more Nissans out of Trophy Nissan than anybody else in the United States when they were in bankruptcy, and we became even bigger. Obviously, planes flying into the World Trade Center, everybody being terrified that anthrax was coming in the mail for 6 months. And people didn't want to leave their house, and people didn't want to go to crowded places. It was another period. When the banks failed in 2008, and General Motors came out and bought down the interest rate to keep America rolling with 0% financing, and the United States government bailed out the banks. That's another full chapter. We have just entered another one. This period from February of 2024 or January of 2024 to late year in 2025 will be looked back on. Remember that correction period. And we truly are in a correction period. And if you look back at every single one of those moments that I just identified that were impacts on the consumer sentiment and retail consumer, our business grew. Everyone, our business grew. We grew through COVID. And every ad agency that is in our business was wondering how they were going to pay their bills. Grew. When nobody was spending money in advertising. We grew in revenue and income. We grew. We have this knife fighter mentality that is embraced by the entrepreneurial spirit that's in the automotive business. We're in sync. The difference is, and I'm going to use the word I, okay? I'm still young enough where I think I'm relevant to our client base. I know how to articulate the creative to them in a way that they can say, shit, this guy's right. Okay? I know how to do it. And it was reaffirmed to me yesterday. I'm going to show you 2 examples. And this is going to drive home for you the flashback of where the car business is. And I'm going to show you the opportunity that's in front of us on Tuesday. It's a function of this superstar being on a panel at Google, and then y'all can go. But I want you to, but your takeaway, you're gonna understand where I'm getting you guys positioned, okay? All right. Who put this screensaver on?